I found out my brother cut me out of our father's will 3 days after the funeral while I was still wearing black. Let me explain. My dad was old school, didn't trust banks much, kept important documents in a fireproof lockbox under his bed. He had 2 kids, me and my brother Garrett. And Garrett had been daddy's favorite since the day I was born, so I was used to getting less. I had made my peace with that a long time ago. What I had not made my peace with was fraud. Dad passed in March after a long illness. Garrett handled most of the arrangements because he lived closer. I flew in from Phoenix and did what I could, and we buried our father on a Thursday, and I thought, whatever differences we had, we could set them aside at least for that. Then his attorney called me on a Sunday morning and told me the will left everything to Garrett. The house, the accounts, all of it. My name was nowhere in the document. I sat with that for a minute. Then I went to my suitcase and pulled out the copy of the will my dad had mailed me himself 8 months earlier, because he wanted me to have it. He had called me when he sent it. We talked for an hour that night. He told me he was splitting everything down the middle because that was fair, and fair mattered to him. The copy in my hand split everything down the middle. The copy on file with the attorney did not have my name anywhere in it. I called a lawyer that same afternoon. Garrett had submitted a version of the will where my name and my share had been cleanly removed, and the signature pages had been redone. He had done it sloppily. The font spacing was slightly different on the last page. The attorney had not caught it because nobody had given him a reason to look. I gave him a reason. The investigation took 4 months. Garrett called me twice during that time telling me I was tearing the family apart over money. He said Dad had changed his mind at the end. He said I was being vindictive and selfish and that I had always been jealous of their relationship. I let him talk. The findings came back confirming the document had been altered. Garrett was charged with will fraud and forgery. He pled down, but he pled. He did not see the inside of a prison, but he saw the inside of a courtroom, and he had to stand up and admit what he did in front of a judge. The estate was settled according to the original document, the one my dad had mailed me on a Tuesday in July because he wanted me to have my own copy because he trusted me. Garrett and I do not speak. I do not expect that to change, and I have stopped being sad about it. I flew back to Phoenix with my half of what my dad left me, and I put some of it in savings, and I used a little of it to finally take the trip to New Orleans I had been putting off for years. I sat on a balcony on Frenchman Street on my last night there with a cold drink and the sound of a brass band coming up from the street below, and I thought about my dad mailing that envelope. He knew what he was doing. He always did.